Hey guys, welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night. We are talking about the Super Mario movie today, and leading into that, I just wanted to have a discussion with y'all. Quick tier list building, if you will.
Ooh, very fun.
I would build some tiers.
I would love that.
So here is the tier list that we're gonna build. I'm gonna go through some of the characters, and we're gonna rank them on how reliable of a choice they would be as a designated survivor for the US government.
Yeah, so
Nice.
in the scenario that everyone in power and who would step into power in the US dies
Right.
suddenly,
Yeah,
where who would be best suited to take up the mantle of
Of
president
exactly.
of the United
Leader of
States?
the free world. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, so this is I understand the premise of this, right? You're kind of like the president's AI stuff, where it's Trump, Obama, and Biden, and we're like kind of playing them, and then is that kind of what you're thinking with that? With this?
Maybe I was not, it doesn't go that deep. I was just
Okay, because
I
it's
was
fun.
just
It's a good
thinking,
idea either way. If it's not
sure.
based on that either way, that it's
No,
Dang
okay.
yeah,
it, Don.
I've been thinking about
That's my
designated
Obama.
survivors recently.
Dang it,
That's a
So,
Don.
great prompt. All
Can't
right.
be
um
using all of my
So
diamonds.
I think S tier, obviously Donkey Kong.
well, I'm gonna list the characters. You
Okay.
Oh,
don't
I
just
can't
go
just throw
tier
them
by
out.
tier. Yeah.
Okay,
You go
fine.
character by character and throw them
Well,
in
can
the
we start with
lists.
Donkey Kong then?
Yeah, can we
Yeah,
decide where we
Donkey
put
Kong,
Donkey Kong?
Okay,
Lucas.
S tier. Yeah, S tier.
S tier, you really think?
I
I
think
think he's S
B
tier.
You
for
know what
B.
though?
banana.
I refuse to compromise.
B
Something that
for
I
banana.
I think I would
So
compromise it to A, and here's why. Donkey Kong, like I feel like really good leaders wouldn't be the designated survivor. They would already be in higher positions, right? So
I
it's got to
see.
be someone a little bit goofy that
Donkey
also
doesn't
Kong
is
is
have to be
plenty
resourceful. And
someone
goofy
I
though.
think that
It's
I
goofy.
not
think
like
that
he's gonna be a
I
great
think that
leader.
Donkey Kong fits the bill, is what
No,
I'm
this is
saying.
like a godfather. You know what I mean? Like in the case of the parents dying, someone's got to raise your kid. And you don't
Yeah.
want someone
Right.
goofy.
You know,
You
well,
don't want
you
the silly one to do it.
yeah,
You
I'm
can't
not
just say, well, if they were good parents, they'd be, they wouldn't be
I
on this
listen,
list.
They
I don't
wouldn't be
know
parents. They wouldn't if they would be good parents, they wouldn't already be parents.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know where they're hiding the designated survivor during these events, but wherever
My
it is,
house.
you open that door up, I guarantee you're gonna find someone real goofy behind that door.
Isn't there like
Okay.
a whole TV
Honka
show based on
honka.
this premise?
Yeah, it's
Hello.
called Designated Survivor, and I haven't watched any of it.
Is it good?
But it is where I initially learned this concept. But
Hmm.
it's a real thing.
I learned it from
Okay, so
school, from the
Donkey
history class
Kong,
we both had together in high school.
Donkey Kong, I'm dragging it to A.
Okay.
Fine.
Um, next up,
I guess I do have to compromise.
we're gonna go with what's the official name? Luma
Mark.
Funky
Lee,
Kong.
Luma Lee,
the
Oh,
F tier.
star in the prison.
F tier.
I think I think A.
Hey,
Hey, just the extreme
explain
nihilist.
your answers.
I think that this star gets it. They're not disillusioned by the fantasy world. They just understand that time is not real and that
Right.
everything will end,
Children, I
Which is what
believe.
you want.
which is what I want. I
Children,
want someone who's down to earth and
children's
not bananas
opinions.
and goofy.
Children's opinions are worth less than dirt, and therefore a child can never lead.
Wow.
So I don't
Yeah.
want that.
I don't think that Luma Lee is necessarily a child.
Well,
Yeah, she's infinite years old, probably.
Probably.
in that case, S tier based on soul
S tier based on age
age
alone.
alone.
So Lucas
As has
age
clearly
only.
been what has been the parameter for determining all US presidents. Age is the only factor that matters. So that's what we're going to base this on, or at least I'm going to. And therefore, if she has infinite years, she must be infinitely good at relating to the populace and
Infinitely
being a good
wise.
leader. Yeah. So let's
Sure.
do that.
Sure.
I go
All
from
right.
F to S.
Well, that concludes our tier list, I think. We covered all of the
Whoa.
main
Just
characters of
Donkey
Super Mario.
Kong.
Donkey Kong.
Okay, one more tier list, and then we've got a new one. And then we've got a new one, meaning a new episode. Um,
Oh.
These
There's only
the-
those two characters. That was
the
it.
4 following characters. No, I'm going to list different characters for this one.
I
Oh,
see.
nice.
The 4 following characters, which I will explain after I explain the tier list that we're going to do. We're going
Okay.
to tier list them based on how good we would feel about them being a point guard on a basketball team.
Mm.
So we're just giving up on the president's thing, the designated survivor. Only 2.
Well, I think we
people?
just kind of covered it. We
We
covered
decided on one.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
who cares
found
about
it.
the
Oh, we
rest?
found it.
Luma
Okay,
Lee.
okay.
Trickle
As
down.
soon
Luma
as
Lee
you
is the-
settle on an S tier, you're good.
You've gotten
Excuse
your.
my cough.
I bet that's how it works in real life.
S for star.
S for star
Oh.
power. Nice.
And B
Got
for
'em.
banana.
Okay, this one's going to be a little more
B
straight
for
up main
idiot.
characters. Bowser.
In like this movie Bowser. I'm gonna
This
say
movie
S
Bowser.
tier.
S tier, huh?
He's
For-
tall and vicious. And
Yeah.
athletic.
What was the prompt again?
For being the point guard of a basketball team.
A point guard does what?
Kind
Scores
of
points.
team captain.
Okay,
It's like the
S tier.
quarterback of a basketball team.
S tier.
S
then.
tier for Bowser.
See, why
So
is he
we-
called a
we-
guard?
I was
if
gonna
he
kill-
only
move
scores
on.
points.
I was going to go lower, but I won't. Like, I'm kind of just facilitating this for you guys. I feel like he's too emotional to be a point guard, but maybe that's just me.
Mm.
I don't understand
He
enough
doesn't
the roles in
keep his head in
basketball,
the
so-
game.
Just a leader. Just think about a leader of a basketball team. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Okay.
I was going off height for this.
Well,
Now
he
we're
already is a
going-
leader. He's a natural king, King Bowser. King
Now
of
we're
the
going
Koopas.
Princess Peach.
Okay.
Mm,
C tier.
F.
C tier and F tier. Really?
Yeah.
I feel like she's the
Maybe.
most
Mhm.
point guardy of
She'd
anyone.
be a better center because she's so tall. So she's not a great point guard.
Hey, see, you sound like you just knew something there.
Maybe I do know more about basketball
Three
than I
guys,
let on.
three guys who don't know very much about any sports are talking about point guards and centers right now. So if you know about sports and you're listening and we're getting stuff wrong, don't tell us. We don't care.
We're proud of ourselves for making it this far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
we're doing
Peach is
great.
unreliable. I think she's always, in a
Okay.
different, in the wrong place. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Getting
You
herself
think,
caught.
You think you know where she's at? She's in another castle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta, you
okay,
gotta
yeah.
look to your leader, and she's not there.
I
we can't
dig.
have- we
She's a
can't have-
flake.
We can't have that as our leader for
Right. Okay.
our NBA sports team.
A dig. Now we're getting down to the two you've always been waiting for. Always, your whole lives.
I've been waiting for this.
Luigi,
S.
S tier.
No matter what. No matter the category.
Tall.
He's always S.
He is tall.
He is tall. Have you
And
guys
he
heard
can
that?
jump far.
Have you guys ever watched
Jump.
the Game Theory YouTube channel?
I'm going A
No, I haven't.
for
So
a
he's-
brother to Mario.
A brother. A brother.
And then I think Mario, obviously.
Can I finish my thing? I was gonna say.
Not really. I don't think you
Okay,
can.
well, the game theorist on YouTube, he made this theory that Rosalina is the child of Peach and Luigi. And one of the pieces of evidence he uses to corroborate that is in Peach Gardens, the Mario Kart track. There's a huge shrubbery of Luigi, but not Mario.
Oh,
So
that's wild.
I mean, if that doesn't prove that Peach and Luigi had a child named Rosalina, I don't know what.
yeah, why does that lead to Rosalina though? That's
I have
interesting.
no clue. I just remember that piece of it, and I thought it was funny and interesting. So
Mario, point guard, S tier. Not even a discussion.
not B tier or lower.
B tier?
Yeah.
Dude, Mario is the leader of leaders.
Or brother to
Is he,
Luigi.
though? Is he actually that good of a brother of Luigi?
Very good.
Is
Very
he a good leader or is he just an adventurer?
That's true.
'Cause, like,
he's
Indiana
that's a
Jones-
good
He's taking
question.
big risks, but he's
Indiana
always
Jones isn't
losing
quite a
lives.
leader.
And you don't want someone who's
Alright.
always losing lives on your team.
That's true.
Yeah.
His
So I'm
own
gonna-
lives. To be
I'm gonna
fair.
put him at a C
Yeah.
for
C.
let's see what this episode of Man Cave Movie Night has in store for us.
Welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night, everybody. I, as always, am Niall.
And I am
Lucas.
Jared.
Okay. And today we are talking about the Super Mario movie. Before we go any further, just a spoiler warning for that movie going forward.
Are we gonna not do a spoiler-free review first?
Yeah,
Or
let's
just do
do
full
yeah, if you
spoilers?
want to.
All right, let's do spoiler-free first, because it's
Sure.
only a couple days old, and so people haven't been able to see it yet.
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
you're
Yeah,
right.
okay. I
You
dig.
know.
I
So if
dig.
you want to listen to like
If you want to listen
15
to,
minutes of a podcast and then save the rest for later.
hey,
Yeah.
I do that sometimes,
Do you?
but yeah,
Do you ever go back for the other half
I do.
of it?
If it's if it's
Okay.
something that I'm legitimately interested in watching, we don't
That's
have to do
wild.
spoiler-free. I mean,
Let's do spoiler free.
fine.
Clearly you
let's
want to do
it.
spoiler
fine,
free.
okay, fine. We'll do spoilers, full spoilers. Mario dies at the end. There, we're in
That was
spoilers.
crazy, dude.
Yeah.
He
It
gets
was
torn
Boss
in
Baby
half.
family business levels of carnage.
Bowser just all of a sudden becomes voiced by
Bowser.
Ron Perlman, and
And
Mario
it turns
hit the
into a
block.
trailer for Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
He hit the block and got the AR freaking
Hit the
power
block
up.
and
Bowser
hit
does
the
it.
block and
Yeah.
got the
pumps
Glock.
Mario full of lead. Yeah, that
That
part's pretty
was
cool.
tough.
I said a cool thing and you didn't hear it, but whatever.
I don't care. But yeah,
You'll hear
let's
it in the
do.
episode.
Let's just do spoilers. Fine. We'll just.
No, spoiler free. We're all settled on this.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. Cool. I really
Jeez,
liked
like a
it.
feather in the wind. You just get pushed all around. Sick of it.
It's a pretty cool personality trait of mine. I think you should respect it more.
I do respect it, and I respect you, and I respect
Thank
you as well, Jared. What's your spoiler-free
What?
review, Lucas?
My spoiler-free review is that I loved almost everything about this movie.
Same.
I really think that if you have any sort of desire to watch it, then you should watch it. And it's a great representation of Mario and the games, and it's basically just a huge pod of references and Easter eggs and just fun, cool stuff to watch. The animation is great. The voice acting was great. For me, at least. Some people have complained about that, but I loved all of it. And the whole thing was really great, except for one thing in particular. But pretty
Spoiler-free.
much, yeah, spoiler free. Like the plot is a little bit weak, it's a little bit thin, but it's fun. You know, it's just a fun Mario movie, and it does a great job of being that.
Yep.
And so I'm excited for probably more to come. I mean, this movie has made
imagine,
already
yeah.
$350 million in 4 days. So
Yeah,
if
and
that-
has Illumination started any IP that has not had a sequel? Because I think the answer to that
Yeah?
question is
No,
no.
I don't think so. Sing
so.
I think they've
2.
sequeled
Life
everything
of
that they've done.
Pets.
Life of Pets,
Yeah.
Life of Pets 2.
Yeah, Despicable Me.
So
I guess the
it's a
Dr.
safe
Seuss
bet.
stuff they've done.
Oh, the
That's not
Grinch.
sequels.
Well, yeah,
But,
but
like,
that's
Grinch
like
2.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the Grinch too.
They've had
This time
multiple
it's
Dr.
personal.
Seuss. They did the Lorax, and then they did Grinch, and then they probably I think they did a Horton Hears the Who, maybe. Is there an animated one of that they did?
There
There
is
is. I
there's
don't know
an
if that's
animated one, but it
Illumination.
predates Illumination.
Hmm.
And it had Jim
Anyway.
Carrey and Steve Carell.
Yeah, it was good. I
It's
like
good
it.
Yeah.
movie, yeah.
So
Good, I
great,
feel
fun.
basically exactly
Watch it.
the same as you. It's the plot is thin and linear, and it just kind of feels really quick. Kind of just jumps from place to place, and it's like, oh, that was quick and convenient. But like, it's a Mario movie. I don't want to see them sitting in a war room planning tactics. You know, like I
Although
just
there
wanna...
is a bit of that in this.
Yeah, but
Oh, like a second
just
of
enough
it.
to kind of be fun, you know?
Yeah, it was fun.
And I really think that I went to this movie about 5% to see a story and 95% to see references and listen to the
Absolutely
score.
agree. Yeah.
And
Oh,
the
dude, the
score-
score.
if nothing else, like that score it's worth the price of admission just to hear that through theater speakers, because it
Seriously.
is amazing.
It was
And
so good.
This movie kind of helped me realize just how much of a Mario nerd I am, because there were a lot of references that I was picking up on, and I was just getting real giddy about all of them. And
Mhm.
I just couldn't stop smiling this whole time. I thought it was so much fun. Had a dang good time. I saw it twice. I saw it with my friends on Wednesday, and then I saw it with all of my nieces and nephews yesterday as a little pre-Easter family thing, and that was very, very fun.
That sounds fun.
So yeah.
Nice.
And it held up. Second time I had just as much fun as the first time.
Cool.
All right, let's hear it. I can feel some
I can
villain
feel, yeah.
vibes winding up.
Uh-oh, Jared. Uh-oh.
I'm torn because here's the thing: as a kids movie, I'm sure kids will like it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It
Am
is a
I
kid's
a
movie.
kid? No.
Yes. You're good at heart.
Here's the thing: I didn't have high expectations for this movie,
How dare you.
and there were some things I really liked, and then there was a lot that I was like, real, like this just seems so mid. You know what I mean? And I love Mario, and I'm just like the whole time, and maybe this is just the podcaster in me. I was like,
Yeah.
I could have done it better. I could have done this better. There's so many
Gotcha.
like just small things I could have just tweaked a little bit, made it a little bit better. You
Mhm.
know, some
I-
plot
I-
points I didn't love. I
I
thought the plot was,
totally-
like you were saying, really weak. There was no character development. I guess, and again, there's just as much
Yeah,
character
it's like-
development as there is in the NES Mario. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which is nothing.
I would
Zero.
argue more because he doesn't have a father he's trying to impress in the NES Mario.
Yeah, well,
Come on.
that
At
that
least
was
that.
such a huge.
It's very
deal.
original
Huge
development. Yeah.
important.
Well,
Um,
and I think I want to talk about how I could have done it better and how we
Okay.
could have.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we
Okay,
can't
so
do
let's
that
just
in the
transition.
spoiler.
Let's transition
Spoilers
here into
probably
spoilers
starting
then.
now.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think
Spoilers
guys,
starting now.
there could have been some better stuff. Are we doing spoilers now?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just transition. Go
spoilers
ahead.
have
Keep going.
spoilers have
Into
initiated.
spoilers, yeah.
Okay. Let me pull out my notes. During the
Oh,
end
nice.
credits, I just jotted down some stuff.
Nice.
Wow.
This
is a man who cares about the podcast.
I care about this.
I just have
man.
a better memory than him, and so
I went to this movie also alone,
Mm,
and maybe that affects it. I don't think
I
it
don't think it would have.
but
I bought the wrong seat, so I wasn't sitting next to my friend, so it was kind of like I was alone.
well, first things first. And I know, there's reasons why they did it. I don't think there should have been any element that was in the real world.
100% agree.
No, I don't think there should have been any in Brooklyn. I thought that whole dog thing, at the beginning was so unbelievably like
Horrible.
childish.
I
and
thought it
dumb.
was so funny.
No.
You thought
bad.
that was
fun.
funny?
Yeah, it was funny.
You were
The whole
laughing
reaction with the dog.
Dude,
Yes.
there's a grown man behind me, and every time he laughed, I was just like, well, he's one of those guys.
Man, you're fun, dude.
Are you
must be
you
great
one
at
of
parties,
those guys, Niall? I'm
See-
great at parties. You know
As-
that.
Jared, you go ahead and finish, and then I'll let you.
So boring to just
I'll go off of
want
what
to
you say.
dislike something.
I didn't want to dislike it. I had
Yeah,
low
I didn't-
expectations, and that's different.
Yeah,
I
that
wanted to
100%.
like it. But in a world where we have animated movies that have so much heart and so much innovation and just passion behind the project, like the Lego movie, like
Puss in Boots.
2,
Yeah.
like Spider-Verse, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer looks like it's going to have, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
that looks
Yeah, that
great. I'm
looks great.
stoked about
This
that.
had no breath of fresh air. The only thing that was special about it is it was Mario. If it wasn't Mario, it would be a horrible movie.
I actually do agree with that.
Yeah, it's totally
But-
relying on references
Yeah. That
as
so
noted, but
I'll
the
say this,
references that I
Jared,
care about, and it's fun.
Yeah.
to agree with you because I absolutely agree that this is a kids movie, and as soon as like I accepted that going in, I was like, you know what, I can get over that and just kind of try and accept this for what it is. However, that first scene I loved with Bowser and the ice
Yeah,
castle
me
and all
too.
that. I was like, that was so cool.
sick.
It cuts
Honestly,
to the
all
real
of the
world.
Bowser stuff.
Yeah,
Bowser
yeah.
was
Oh,
great.
Bowser was the best.
Bowser was
so
great.
good.
As soon as it cuts to the real world, I immediately was disappointed. I was like, there is no way, because this made the mistake that D&D did not make, which was incorporating the real world. And I was like, are you kidding me? This cannot be real. And truly that 5 to 10 minutes, it was probably like 10 minutes at least in the
It's
real
about 10,
world
yeah.
with Mario and Luigi, and they're just getting bullied by that guy, and they're sitting eating pasta with the dad. And I was like, please move on from this. We know this is totally meaningless. This is not why we're here. We're not here to see. That just felt so Illumination to me in the worst way possible. And it really just felt lazy too, because it's just like, you really can't come up with a way for these guys to be repairmen in the Mario, like Mushroom Kingdom world. They can't be repairmen of the green pipes, like literally the transportation system. They can't be plumbers for that or anything like that. you have to pull them from the real world into this. And then when they incorporated it again at the very end, I was like, ugh. Because as soon as Mario and Luigi got sucked in, I was there for the rest of it. Pretty much, well, I'll say as soon as they went to Donkey Kong Island, that's when I was fully into it until the end. But up until that point, once they were in the Mushroom Kingdom, I had a lot of fun with it. The little Mario, all the references and things like that, I was super enthused by, but it was just a bad taste in my mouth from that beginning scene with the dog and the plumbing, and it was just so generic and just felt so bland. But I will say, after that, loved it. Loved so much about this. The music, like Niall and I had talked about, the music, the voice acting, like I already said, the animation was all so cool. And to Jared's point, I totally agree. If this was not a Mario movie, it would have sucked. But this is an entirely just a reference movie. Like there's just no plot to it. It's just, hey, cool. Hey, look, a Mario thing. Hey, look, a Mario thing. Hey, look, a Mario music cue. Hey, look, it's Mario Car. And so all that stuff I just had fun with. And so that's it. Niall, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you not already know that it was starting in the real world?
No, I had no idea. Because I've been trying to avoid trailers and stuff like that in general. So I just had I had no clue.
Because I knew that from
was that in a trailer
stuff.
Well, there's like the trailer that was like the Mario Bros like I just saw that like commercial.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah,
but that could have just been promotional.
I thought it was just promotional. Yeah,
very
I thought
fun.
It was just...
No, I was pretty well aware that there was stuff in the real world, and so maybe that's why it didn't really bother me at all, because I just already knew that was going to be the case, you know.
Yeah, I had no clue.
But it really, like, I will say the second time when I was watching it, I was thinking basically the whole intro of the movie, oh wow, all of my favorite stuff is after they're in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Of course.
Like I agree,
yeah.
it feels like lazy that they couldn't come up with a different explanation and all of that stuff. Totally agree. It just didn't really bother me that much, and it's probably because I just already
knew.
Yeah,
it caught me off guard so bad. I had no clue that it wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. One of my favorite sequences is in that beginning part in Brooklyn, though, just purely referential, also, of them going through World 1-1 from the original Mario game, like when they're running to their first plumbing appointment. Everything in that like side-scrolling sequence is set up as the world of the first Mario game.
Gotcha.
There's like little like different colored blocks that they just like run under that is the shape of the first world and things like that. And it's so cool to see that little, like, just those kinds of things, holes in the ground and all of the same places that they have to jump over and things like that. Like, just I loved it so much. He jumps up and slides down the flagpole.
Yeah, and there's a Castle Burger next to it.
Yeah. And like it just any time something like that happened, which was throughout the duration of the movie, different things like that, referencing different Mario games, or even just the Nintendo as a whole. When they're in the Mushroom Kingdom for the first time walking through and they walk past the antique store and someone's like, does this work? And he's like, yeah, you just need to blow into it sometimes. I was like, it's like the N64 and all the other ones. Like, it's just like, there were so many things like that the first time I went in, I did not have low expectations for this movie. I've been hyped about this movie.
Yeah.
I've been so pumped about it. And so it's possible that I've got like rose-colored glasses on about it and just wanted to love everything, and therefore I did. But I really just had like the first time and the second time really a great time front to back. Like, and also just Jack Black as Bowser, dude.
Good.
Oh yeah.
This is a casting of the century.
Yeah,
He's so good.
I will say that like the New York stuff and like the Brooklyn stuff really was kind of frustrating to me because I knew what we were getting to. Like I knew that there was a whole movie of Mario stuff
in
and I
a
was
much
just
more
like,
magical and interesting place.
Exactly. And so I was just super frustrated and super impatient. I'm like, why is this dragging on? Come on, please just get to the Mushroom Kingdom. That's the movie that I want to see. And then once it was there, it took a second. It was a little bit I thought the Peach training sequence with Mario was a little bit much. I thought it was fun,
Yeah, I kind of
but it wasn't
agreed.
quite my favorites. But I will say, Mario Kart has been a game that my roommates and I have been
Oh.
playing a lot recently. It's
Oh.
become a game
Mhm.
that I love. I play it a lot. I've been playing it a lot more over the last like year or so than I ever have. And Mario Kart is just a game that has meant a lot to me for a long time. And so that whole sequence, with the picking of the carts and then the racing sequence, how long it was,
Yeah.
I was just so enthused by that. And the guy turns into the blue shell, just everything you could
Yep.
possibly
They
want.
had drift boosting in it
Yeah,
where
they
he
did have.
drifts it
Oh,
from
yeah.
blue to yellow to purple and then he
Yep.
dashes off. Amazing.
All
So
I
cool.
was truly euphoric during that scene.
Same.
I could not believe how well they did that. I
Yep.
had so much fun with it. And
Specifically the
so,
cart picking when they were playing the Mario Kart 8 menu music.
yeah, yep.
They were like going in there.
And
I
they
was
had the
just
biddy buggy and everything, just right
yeah,
in right there.
anybody that has listened to this podcast for long enough will know that I am maybe a little bit obsessed with Mario Kart. I love it so much. And I like it seriously because of how much I love Mario Kart and how personal it has become to me. That sequence felt like one of those times, one of those magical few moments in movies where you're watching it and you're like, were they making this for me
Yeah.
specifically? You know, because I
Mhm.
just the whole Mario Kart sequence, I was just over the moon about. It was so much fun.
100% agree. And so ultimately that scene was really where I was like, you know what? It was worth the few minutes of torture at the beginning of this movie to get to this point because it's so fun. And so I also really liked the whole Donkey Kong stuff with him fighting and
Yeah.
then I liked how Donkey Kong and Mario had a whole little romp together too.
Donkey Kong is my I could have done it better.
Okay,
I've got one I could have done it better that I noted the first movie and I was upset that it wasn't in the movie. If you're gonna have a 1v1 fight with Mario and Donkey Kong and giving Donkey Kong time to fight, let him do a wind up punch.
Oh yeah,
Just
that would have
one
been cool.
wind up punch. Come on.
That
Zero
was
Smash Bros at all in this movie.
that was
That's
one of
true.
the things I wrote down is like, if we're going to reference stuff, let's go all in, right?
Yeah.
These like fight sequences, they weren't inspired in any means, you know, it was
Yeah.
just a punch, a punch, a punch.
Except
But
for
there's
the
so much source material.
yeah.
And I was thinking that until they did the Bowser
until they did the
throw.
Bowser tail. That's
and I
what
was like,
gonna bring
okay,
up.
thank you for at least
Yeah,
doing that.
giving us
Mhm.
something.
But it's
Yeah.
just like, and let me kind of restate my claim because I know I kind of was wishy-washy at the beginning
Okay.
because I was like, yeah, it's a kids movie, so I'm trying not to be too. Okay, here's the thing: when I go to any movie, I don't feel like I'm going to it as a fan of the source material for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah.
Right. Dungeons and Dragons is a big exception, right?
Sure.
But like any Marvel movie, I'm going as someone who just wants to see a good story.
Yeah.
Someone who just wants to be even a little bit moved by it.
Yep.
Someone who wants to, escape for the hour and a half to 2 hours or whatever. I didn't feel that at all in this movie. Even like the references were never enough to be like, no, this is spectacular in any regard.
Uh-huh.
Right? Did I catch pretty much all the references? Of course I did. I'm a Mario fan still. Like
Right.
I've played so many games and I always wanted a little bit more. I wanted them to commit more to the things. I wanted them to care at all about plot and about character, you know? And if that's too much to ask, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm going to
I
say it
don't
was a
think it
bad
is.
movie.
I don't think it is too much to ask. And I do think I settled a little bit just because of how nostalgic baiting it was and how much I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun with this. And so I just let it just like go through me. And I turned off my critic brain and I was just after the Brooklyn stuff. I will put an asterisk on that. After the Brooklyn stuff, I was like, cool. Now it's a Mario movie. And anything is better than nothing in my book in terms of like animated Nintendo, because animated is absolutely the way to go for Nintendo movies.
Right.
Because it's family games. All the Nintendo stuff is like E10 plus or T or lower. And so it's like animated, just like very palatable movies just makes a lot of sense. I hope going forward they're a little bit more ambitious now that they know that they're successful with this franchise that they've started. I hope they're a little bit more ambitious with the plot and they trust the audience more and stuff like that, because I'm not going to be as forgiving going forward. With this one, I totally get it. It's kind of the Force Awakens thing where it's like they have to do a weak plot that they've already done just to get people back into it. It's really after that introduction where at least for me, I can start to be a little bit more critical of what's happening.
I agree. I would say if the second one is this same thing, just kind of references and the same kind of thin plot, I would be like, why are we doing this?
Exactly.
If it's just going to be that same, because like I'm totally willing to admit I enjoyed this movie because of the references. And
Right.
it's just
Totally
like
agree.
for me, those references were enough to make it spectacular. I don't know, like it's just like it hit the right spot for me, and like it's listen, like 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. There are plenty of people that agree that this movie was a great time, but rotten from critics. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that the next movie, if it were to just kind of do the same thing and rest on the laurels of references, those critic scores and audience scores would be way closer to each other.
Yeah.
And so I totally agree. It's like this movie, they could just kind of rest on references, but going forward, if they want it to still make money, they're going to have to be way more ambitious with plot line and actually like having a significant emotional center and stuff. Totally agree.
Cool.
Yeah,
I go, Jared.
Well, I've
talked too much.
Let me pitch. I think just if I was to rewrite the plot, and truly, this took me 1 second to come up with, and I think it would have made, for me, like 100 times better of a movie. Have them start in Mushroom Kingdom, and this is so like tropey and like so overdone, but it at least is something that gives me any sort of emotion. Mario and Luigi have a little like pipe cleaning business or whatever, they're fixing the pipes, they're plumbing, and Luigi's just a screw up, and Mario's like, dude, we're trying to do bigger things. I want to do something good with this company or whatever, and Luigi's just not getting it, and they're butting heads, and he's like, whatever. Then Luigi gets kidnapped, something big happens, and now he has to, no, I need to get my brother back. And they had this like fight at the beginning, and then in the end they come together. Did I think about that like a ton? No. But the idea that like these characters start the movie in one place and end in a different place is basic storytelling.
Yeah.
If Mario in the beginning, it's like, no, Mario and Luigi, we're best buds, we're always there for each other, and we're going to take on the world. And then they get separated. Back at the end, they're like, no, we're together, we're going to take on the world. There's no growth, there's no sort of conflict. And then like everything in between those bookends in this movie was just, it felt like an outline of like, what references do we want to make? Mario Kart, that we could put that here. Donkey Kong, we could put that here. And then they just hit those, but they didn't, like, there was nothing outside of a timeline. It was just, how do we go from one thing to the next? Well, Mario will fight Donkey Kong and he'll win because we need him to win so they can go with the army to do this. And then, well, then they'll go here, and then we want like kind of an underwater thing, so then they're going to fall. It never felt like an organic story unfolding. It just felt like, what do we want to have happen? And let's just do that in the laziest connections possible. And I want to say really quick about the Mario Kart scene.
Yeah, keep going.
I would have had more fun watching someone else play Mario Kart than watching that scene. And I know that's where we disagree.
Totally disagree.
But there was no stakes. There was nothing interesting about that scene besides, I loved the part when they made the cars.
Yeah.
That was very fun, very exciting. Yeah. The animation was beautiful. And I'm not saying I dislike this movie. Maybe I should have started with the positives.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's
animation's
fun.
beautiful.
Well, we had
Bowser
already covered positives.
Yeah.
freaking Luigi having the flashlight and like doing that like creep that he does in
Yep.
Luigi's Mansion.
And a tiny musical reference to Luigi's
yeah.
Mansion.
Yeah, I
I
heard
don't know
that.
if you noticed it.
So
Just a little da, da,
great.
da, 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 da. I was freaking out. I was just totally euphoric in my seat.
I was like, follow that. I want just
Yeah.
to see the Luigi part of this movie.
Same.
The design for things like, you know, Princess Peach's castle,
Yeah.
like that just looks so
And with,
perfect.
with
you know,
the Super Mario 64 like
The-
Peach's castle
uh-huh.
theme, the dun,
So-
da, 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 yeah, and the
So
glass is
good.
just awesome.
But then they just it was just so fragile of a plot.
That was
and
all the meat of it.
I
yeah.
don't feel like the references ever went deep enough or were nuanced enough for me to not be like, oh yeah, the dude's a blue shell, and then he says blue shell, and then he does the blue shell
Yeah.
thing. Just have him do the thing, you know. It
Right.
always kind of felt a little undercut. Or I wanted Bowser when he fought to just do Smash Bros moves.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
seriously.
I wanted him to
Jump
punch
in the
someone
air and
into the
sidekick.
ground.
Yeah.
The sidekick
Yeah.
would have been insane.
That would have been sweet.
I'll say
just
this
like,
about
come on, just like if you're gonna go, this is a
Yeah.
reference movie. Go all in. Be
Yeah.
creative with how you're doing references. So
I'll say
that's my
this
tangent
about
really
that
quick.
about the Smash Bros thing. I think the reason they didn't is because they're probably going to make a Smash Bros movie. Now,
yeah, it's possible.
obviously that would be like 10 years out. And I still think that's not
What do you mean, obviously?
well, because I think they're gonna make a ton of movies.
Oh,
it's
they
the it's the
just set up the
MCU.
To
that's
set
their
up it,
that's
we
yeah,
need
their
a
yeah.
end
Kirby
game.
movie.
Exactly. And
Smash Bros.
they
is
might do
Endgame.
it before
We need
that.
a
Yeah, I
Sephiroth.
think they'll. I mean, if we're following the Marvel,
Well, now we need to make
plan,
all the Final Fantasy movies so that people know what's
Yeah.
going on in Smash
Yeah.
Bros.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think they'll just keep it to the core main,
Yeah,
like
like
the original
Melee.
ones. Melee,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just the Melee characters. And even
We need
then,
an
I don't
Ice
know if they'll
Climbers
make
movie.
a
what
Star
we need.
Fox or Ice Climbers. They could just show up and it's like, hey, these guys are here now.
Sure.
Well, if
That
they're
being
making
said, though,
movies, they were going to make a Star Fox movie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Oh,
What a
better. That
what
would
a
be sick.
beautiful like interact or like not interactive, but just like fleshed out different world that they could explore.
that would be
Lucas,
really cool. I'll just
I-
say the IP I don't feel like is quite strong enough to get butts in chairs for people who haven't played Star Fox. But it
But if
could
they
be like
made
a
a
Guardians
good
thing
movie.
where it's like, yeah, if they made it
Yeah.
a good movie. But what I was going to say to Jared's point though, with the Smash Bros things, they still could have had them do the
Had
Smash Bros
something, yeah.
moves, even if they're going to make a Smash Bros movie down the
Yeah.
line. I don't think that's a good enough of an excuse to not do it. But
Yeah.
if I'm just kind of thinking along
That's
those
your-
lines, that
that's
could
your-
be a reason
Yeah.
why.
Okay, I have one thing that I want to say that would have been better had I said it a little while ago, but I didn't want to interrupt too much. And that was Jared, going back to your point of like the rift between Mario and Luigi being
Mhm.
what could have been like the center of character development. That's already something that's like everybody has headcanoned the sibling rivalry between Mario and Luigi
Oh yeah.
from the very beginning. Like somehow in this 2D side-scrolling 8-bit game, we all understood that Mario was the cool older brother and Luigi was the little brother who was never nearly as cool. Maybe it's just because he was player 2
yeah,
and that's what was
exactly what it
actually
is.
happening in the household.
Yep.
Older brother got Mario,
Mhm.
younger brother got Luigi.
And the name of the
But-
franchise is Mario, so it's like
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's
that's a
like
big
everybody
indication.
has on their own developed that story, so you might as well lean into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of them, like, yeah, there's kind of a sibling rivalry or at least a rift between the two that needs to get solved, you know.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And as well as they work together, it never felt
Yeah.
like they earned anything in the movie. And so I
Right.
think if you just take that out at the beginning and then Luigi saves him in the end, and Mario's not like egotistical or bitter about it, he's like, my brother is still there for me. He's still there to back
Yeah.
me up. That moment actually is impactful, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know.
You know,
No,
they could do that in a movie that I'm hoping to pitch. They could build to that. I want to. Lucas, will you ask your
So,
question?
yeah,
that I
I'll
can
ask my
pitch this
question.
movie?
So-
well, I want to say one
Jared,
more
go
thing
first.
because
Okay,
this was a
please.
huge gripe for me that I just thought this is so stupid.
Uh-huh.
The score, phenomenal. You guys
Yeah.
talked about that. I
Brian
wanted
Tyler.
more just like true, like like just play the song a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think there's moments they could have done that, like the Go Go Power Rangers part in the new Power Rangers movie. It's like my
where
favorite
they
part of the
just
whole
did.
movie.
Yeah.
It's like
so
Go
good.
Power Rangers, because
And
that's
they
when
they
the
just straight
nostalgia
up did it.
fully
Yeah.
just overcame me. But what they did in this movie was I don't know if they had leftover access to songs after Sing 1 and 2, but they had like such a stupid soundtrack. I love every song in the
Their
soundtrack,
licensed.
I see.
but they
yeah,
had like
licensed
Holding
music.
Out for a Hero. They had, did they have Take on Me or something?
Take on Me was in there. They
In
had
that-
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
I did like the No
Again,
Sleep Till
that
Brooklyn.
one- that
I
one-
love-
that one fit.
I love all of those songs, and whether or not they fit in like the movie and the
Yeah.
they wanted an upbeat, fun song when they like go karted through the city, and they played "Take on Me" or I think that's what it was,
Yeah, it was.
and it's fun. It fits. It works. Don't play just something Mario. You know what I mean? This doesn't have to be a Guardians of the Galaxy or Trolls or
Right.
Everything is
But
Guardians.
Also, like Illumination has always done those licensed songs. Like,
yeah, and I'll say that about this movie. This feels in the worst ways like an Illumination movie. And there
Yeah.
is just an unfortunate grime that Illumination has left on this movie.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of feel it from time to time. You're just like, ugh, that's a little bit like an Illumination
Yeah.
something.
Also,
And that's not to say Illumination movies are necessarily bad. I haven't seen that many of them, but they just kind of have dumb tropes.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I mean, and that even that, like Sing and Secret Life of Pets, I didn't really love either of them. They're fine. They're not bad, but it's just
yeah.
they feel a little bit samey. And like even Despicable Me, they're all just kind of like feeling like the same. And I really hate that they kind of brought a little bit of that ick
Like
into
the
this.
Yeah.
dog.
The dog, exactly.
Straight out
When
of
that
it.
dog, I was like, this is just an Illumination BS scene. And
Yeah.
it felt like it's so hard. But in the best way possible, as it felt like a Mario movie.
Well,
And so it's just got two ends of the spectrum. I mean, for me, I know Jared disagrees, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people who disagree as well.
Again, I liked
some
stuff.
I
yeah.
want to say
I
something
thought it was
about
a
the
bad
licensed
movie,
music
though. Go for it.
before we go too far away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that any one of those moments with the licensed music would have been perfect if the other moments hadn't been there of all of the licensed music. You know what
Just
I mean?
like have
Oh,
one
like-
moment
Like
where
if one of those songs showed up in whichever scene, pick one. It would have been way better and felt less like crappy. For example, the Thunderstruck while they're putting the carts together.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like if there had been no licensed music up to that point, and then Thunderstruck starts playing when they're putting their carts together, you're kind
It's
of
fun.
like, all right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun. That's just kind of this fun thing that they decided to do for this scene,
Mhm.
rather than being kind of like a theme of the movie is that there's also licensed music every now and then, and then we're just
Yeah.
kind of like, it
Eh.
starts to feel like out of place rather than a stylistic choice for a certain scene.
Well,
know?
and you have such a broad, in-depth
Yeah.
library of music you
That
can
they've
pull
made for
from
every situation. Yeah.
that, like, if you want a song for people driving a go-kart to, you're in luck,
You've
pal.
got some, yeah.
We've got plenty.
You have
You know?
Donkey Kong themed driving cart music.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
So there-
multiple,
Or even just whip
multiple
out some
songs of it.
bongos, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
I'm with
great.
ya.
There is there I heard there's a reference to the DK rap. I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
When is
DK. Donkey Kong. They're
Oh,
chanting
yeah,
it
yeah,
over and
that's
over
right,
again
that's
when
right,
he
yeah.
comes
When
out
they're
the first
chanting
time.
it. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yep. The so the Mario music, the score though, like I think the score really made it so the licensed music didn't really
Yeah,
get to that.
Brian Tyler,
that
the
much.
GOAT. Also, a quick thing, the fact that he was able to take all of these themes and incorporate them into a new theme that he created for this movie that also feels at home with other Mario themes is just awesome.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
this movie has its own kind of musical motif that shows up all throughout that is not from anything. It's
Mhm.
new to this movie. And it feels it feels the same as all of the Mario like reference motifs that show up throughout the whole thing. And I just like, what a challenge to be given as a composer, have them come to you and say, hey, we're making a Super Mario Bros movie and we want you to make the score,
Don't
and
mess it
here
up.
are all of the references, here are all of the scenes, and also make a new theme that we can incorporate into almost every single one of those tracks. Like, yeah, just real quick, go and make a soundtrack based off of the most beloved video game character of all time with the most beloved video game music of all time, and make it good. And Brian Tyler was just like, yep, here you go. Nailed it.
And he's like, I
Absolutely
wrote this
crushed it.
masterpiece right here. And they're like, ooh, we're actually going to use No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Oh, actually, ooh, sorry, we're gonna use "Take on Me" by
How about if we,
a-ha. But
not do
I
that?
like it. I like
I
what
like
you
it.
wrote too,
Yeah.
but we're
I
not
forgot
using
Take On Me
that.
Holding Out for a Hero was in Shazam as well.
It was also in
Wow.
Tetris.
and Tetris,
No
really.
way.
I haven't
So
seen
in
Tetris.
like 1 month, it was in 3 big releases.
Yeah.
Geez, whichever studio has that, probably like Columbia or Sony,
Yeah,
or
or
something.
just
made
They're just
so much
making,
money.
Four. So
making money off
we'll get into my
Holding Out for a
question
Hero.
because this movie has made more money than any other
Holding out
animated
for
movie.
some royalty checks, more
That's
like.
what
Sorry,
I'm
I
talking
thought
about.
of that.
Come on, let's go.
Sorry. Okay. I was way late on the trigger, but I
It's
thought of it.
fine.
Keep asking your
It's fine.
question.
It's fine. So in its first weekend, it made $150 million, which is the record for any animated
Sheesh.
movie. So it just broke the record. And because it came out on Wednesday, so since Wednesday, and this is in the US alone, since Wednesday, it's made $205 million.
Which
And
also
so-
midweek release is
Very smart.
Like, well, it's smart, but also a little bit like risky. Midweek releases don't happen, so it's like, is that going to hurt your release or is it going to help it?
I'll say it was smart because a lot of schools are on spring break, and it's also Easter weekend, and a lot of people like
Yeah.
to see movies Easter evening
For
or just
sure.
Easter weekend. And so they were very wise in their marketing, because it was originally going to come out this Friday. They pushed it back a couple days, just a couple extra days of, hey, we've got some spare time because it's spring break. Let's go watch the new Mario movie with the kids.
Yeah.
And so it made
Air
200.
also released midweek. I almost wonder if there's like some
Easter
weird
thing.
clause, something that's like, hey, don't release movies on Good Friday or
Could
something.
be. I have no clue.
I don't know, but I was kind of wondering if it's like for some reason not allowed or something. But anyway, continue. I'm
me
sorry.
bringing that up is just to say that, and like Niall had mentioned, the critic score is not great, but the audience score is great. So people are loving this. Clearly, they're seeing it more than once. Even Niall has seen it more than once, and I'm sure it will have a phenomenal run. It might even crack $1 billion, which would be wild. I mean,
That
it's
would
already
be
like a third of the way
crazy.
there. With that being said, sequels and spinoffs are inevitable. Nintendo is
guaranteed.
now in the movie making
They're in the game.
this, and so they're in the game, and so they're going to make more animated movies, which personally I'm excited for. Nintendo Cinematic Universe, the NCU, kind of makes sense for them to call it. I
It'd be
doubt
cool
they'll
to see
actually
him
call it
break
that.
away from Illumination. I don't know
They
like what the
won't.
terms of their contract are, but it would be great if they did.
It would be cool, but I highly doubt it's going to happen.
Make your own
because they
studio,
also-
Nintendo. You can afford it.
Nintendo also has like a deal with Universal with the parks, and kind of like we mentioned with Disney,
Yeah.
it all revolves around the parks. The parks are what makes the most money at the end of the day.
Money, yeah.
And so that's another thing I'm really excited for. The in-person Nintendo Land stuff looks so cool.
Yeah,
man. I would
it
love
looks
to go to
sweet.
that. But my
also,
question is going to be asked. Niall, I'm
Yeah,
just
go
gonna
for it.
toss
Ask your
aside
question.
your thought. Because
I'll
you
work
want
my thought into
you
my
want to
answer.
answer this question. You're
I'll
the
work
one
my thought
pushing me
into
to
my
answer
answer.
it
I know.
or ask it. So
Ask
my
it.
question is, what movie or spinoff of Mario or sequel to Mario or whatever, just Nintendo animated movie, do you want to see the most?
Great.
Go. And just choose
Okay,
one.
can I answer?
Yes.
Go for
Okay,
it.
so first of all, I don't know if either of you saw the final post-credit scene. I'm assuming that Lucas did and Jared did not.
No, I did. Well, because
Oh, you did?
I was writing all my thoughts down during the credits,
Oh,
and I
right.
figured they'd do
Gotcha.
something stupid like
Sure.
we got to throw something else in there because people,
Because Marvel.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
did
Well,
do that.
after credit scenes existed before Marvel, but we can talk about that some
Yeah,
other
but
time.
it doesn't matter.
But
What?
They weren't good until Marvel.
You're still here? The movie's
yeah,
over. Go
the
home.
all timer, dude.
Also, Pirates of the
but-
Caribbean had them.
Yeah, but
Who?
listen up. First of all, there will be just a second Super Mario movie for
Yes.
sure, with
Of
Yoshi as kind of a featured thing, probably. With the hatching of the Yoshi egg, which, by the way, I didn't see that the first time, and I read about it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. But then when I saw it with my nieces and nephews, it almost all of their favorite character is Yoshi.
Mm.
And the
Smart
looks
kids.
of extreme happiness on their faces at the end of that scene made me just like I was on cloud nine.
You were just
all of those kids
giddy.
that were just like, Yoshi's gonna be in the next one, like freaking out about it. So just wanted to note that like that's kind of just a given. So I want to go different directions. If you've listened to our video game episode, I think I brought this up there. Luigi's Mansion is one of my favorite games of all time. And I think
Mhm.
that movie, not only if they made a Luigi's Mansion movie, would it just be great. The way that Luigi's Mansion is set up as a game would be great for kind of a movie porting. You can kind of add some more stuff in to give it a little more character, have some like ghost side characters that kind of drive the plot forward and things like that. But here's the thing. This movie can do at the emotional center kind of the same thing, but a little bit the same thing that this movie did, but can lean a little bit more on Luigi's a bit of a coward. Mario has been abducted this time. Luigi has to go and save him. And can Luigi overcome, his own like cowardice to save his brother, And like there are scenes in Luigi's Mansion that feel so cinematic. The first time you go down that well in the backyard and there's like a little window that you can look through and you see Mario like stuck in a painting frame, it like just thinking about that fills me with awe with how amazing and cinematic of a moment that is. That would translate to a movie so well. Where it's like at first Luigi's just thinking, okay, Mario got here first and I can't find him. Let's see if I can figure out where he is. Something's going on at this house. And then realizing, and you make the audience realize this at the same time, Mario's been kidnapped and he's being held hostage here. We don't know why. And then build on that. It gives an opportunity to have some real character growth from Luigi. That's like the whole point of that game is Luigi's character growth. So it's already built into the story. Plus, I'm just selfish and I want to see one of my favorite games of all time be turned into a movie. And now that I'm seeing an opportunity for it, let's lean into it.
Yeah.
Also, if we're talking about soundtracks, maybe the best theme of any Mario game ever, Luigi's Mansion, I will throw down about that. That song is so good.
I'm
so
sure you guys noticed, but as he was kind of getting carried away from the mansion, he kind of looked at it. He had kind of a moment of solemn contemplation, looking at the kind of rubble of that mansion, the little castle. Then it shows a shot of it, and then it kind of goes back to him as he flies away. It's like that was very interesting that they included that. But that's a great answer. I totally agree. It'd be awesome to see a Luigi's Mansion movie, or even just if they flipped the whole thing on its head for the sequel and made Luigi kind of the center player.
Yeah.
As Mario.
Yeah.
Like,
Super
either
Luigi
one could work.
movie or whatever. Yeah.
I believe in the Luigi's Mansion like games. Mario is the one who's kind of in danger, right? That's correct. What I think they should do is just take Mario out of the equation, like, and have him like just need to fill in the shoes of Mario and go and like do the mansion.
Like Mario dies or something.
No, Mario goes on
he gets Boss Baby.
vacation with Peach
Ooh.
to the Super Mario
Ooh.
Sunshine
Yeah, dude.
island of
Not-
Island Delfino.
I was gonna say there's not even like a reference. There's not even
There's
like
nothing.
a Delfino. I don't know what their
Plaza.
race is.
Oh yeah, like
but
the
there's not one of
Delphinoians.
those yeah, Delphinoian. There's not even one of those like in the background, which I'm like, really? You're not even like
Well, maybe
like
they're
that's an
saving it.
opportunity.
Maybe they're saving it
They
for a
could be
sequel.
saving it.
It's
Yeah,
very
legitimately.
possible.
Because
No,
I was
that's a very
expecting
popular
some
one that
sort
they
of
could
like
easily.
the flood machine to show up or something.
Mhm.
Nothing. So
Yeah. You know, that would be fun. That's not actually my answer, but
Okay,
oh, is it not?
it would be a good,
it would be a
like,
good
fun
idea.
reason to explain where he's at and what
Yeah.
he's doing. Mine, I would love to see a like a Mario Galaxy. You know,
Yeah.
I think the one thing that this movie had at least going for it is how beautiful and cinematic some of the animation was. It was either just the most basic, in my opinion, like, yeah, like that's the bar, that's what it should look like, or it was just Bowser walking out of just a cloud of
Yeah.
cinder and ash, and you're like, this is so sick.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I would hope that if they went, you know, out of our solar system or Mario's solar system or whatever, and just started like going to crazy galaxies and stuff. And, you know, I think we've all been dying to have a movie where Chris Pratt is like the main character and he goes to different worlds and sees all these different, you know, planets and stuff. And they're playing like
agree.
Mr. Blue Sky and stuff,
Oh,
you know,
Mr.
for the
Blue Sky, yeah.
soundtrack.
I was thinking
maybe
of
he's got like a crew.
Passengers.
What?
He's got like a few crew.
But
And Rosalina is the other one that he just like kind of wakes up.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, wake up.
We go, babe.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the best music, and we talked about this in our video game
Mhm.
episode, is like the Gusty Garden Galaxy theme from Super
So
Mario
good.
Galaxy, which it does play in the credits.
Yeah. I
But I was
noticed
like,
that. And I was like,
man,
oh,
why
okay.
do we have to wait till the credits to hear this?
I
know.
think that is
Put
one
that in
they
there, you know?
will save. Just the fact that there was the Lumalee in this, I think Galaxy
And a-
very well could be
yeah.
the next movie.
specific reference to there's a lot of galaxies out there.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, that's right.
way is a fun reference. Makes no sense in the context of the conversation.
Absolutely.
It's such a shoehorned line.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, there's a lot of
Cool.
galaxies,
Yeah.
I guess. But it just seems like such a, hey, remember Super Mario Galaxy? It could happen, you know?
Also a reference, I think, to the fact that, hey, we're going to keep making Mario and Nintendo movies. Because
Yeah.
there's a whole multiverse
yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
Who
for
knows
real.
where
Yeah.
who's
I-
who? And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say this though. Those little star people, the Lumas, whatever,
Lumas, yeah.
they're just gonna make those into minions. You know what I mean? They're just gonna be
Yeah.
the exact same thing as minions.
Except obsessed with death, which I
Except-
dig.
yeah. Well,
Except,
that's
like,
what people, that's what
crazy
people said
depressing.
about the Toads. And I didn't feel that much. The
No, I
Koopas
didn't at
more
all.
so.
No, yeah,
But
yeah.
even then, it wasn't like a minion. It wasn't nearly as
Okay,
obnoxious or anything.
okay.
The Toads were fun.
yeah,
So
I'm
it could
hopeful,
be, but
it's-
they've already
yeah,
proved
it's-
themselves wrong once.
So it's
Yeah,
possible.
and I really want them to stop doing the joke of like, it's adorable. It's
I
so
know.
fluffy. I'm gonna die.
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
They
just
put
like,
that it's
again,
adorable
just
thing
saying-
in the trailer, and it just makes me cringe. And when
Yeah.
it happens in the movie, I'm just like,
and it
I'm just
happens
glad they don't dwell on
twice
it.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Again, there's just the stink of illumination on this that you can't remove.
it
And
reeks.
so my answer is a bit of a caveat. And so the movie that I think would be so effective as the game that I think would be so effective as a movie. And if you've listened to the video game or Nintendo episode, you know that the game series that I love more than anything is The Legend of Zelda. And I think there is only one studio that could do it justice, and that is Studio Ghibli. I think that if they were to make a
Mm.
Zelda movie, because that story, like as a 2.5 hour movie,
Mm,
it would
mm.
truly
Dude,
That
could
would be
be
too good.
one of the best. It's too good of an idea. It's
I'm
too good of
like,
an idea.
And they don't
and
even
so
covered
need
in
never-
goosebumps by this idea.
like truly they kind of do something similar with just Princess Mononoke. Where it's
Exactly.
like Ashitaka is just a noble dude trying to do what's right, and he
Yeah.
goes on an adventure and that's such a Link story.
Exactly.
And
And
you just run with that. Oh, that'd be so
Yeah.
good,
it
dude.
would be so, and I
That would
think
be so good.
a Zelda movie in 2D animation, like Studio Ghibli kind of really thrives in, like with that painted art style where it's just very meticulous. I don't think it would work as well in 3D. And so I think if it was in a 2D art style made by Studio Ghibli about The Legend of Zelda, it would just be
Yeah.
so amazing. And
Would
I'm going to finish my thought by
go
saying,
for it.
I bet that there is a Zelda movie in development, and
And Illumination's the studio.
I think Illumination is going to make it, and I think they're going to make it like this movie, which is not at all how you do a Zelda movie.
No,
Because certainly there are silly elements in the Zelda games,
sure.
like the cuckoo, like the whatever. Like there's just fun little random stuff that they do, but that's not the tone of those games. They're
No.
not nearly the same in the sense that, like, oh yeah, you can make it fun and funny and it still works. If they did that to Zelda, they would just butcher it. And I'm afraid that that's what's going to happen. I just know that's what's going to happen. That's just what the Zelda movie is going to be. And I'm really, maybe I'll be proven wrong. I really want to be proven wrong because I don't want to see that Zelda movie, because I think that's the franchise that Nintendo has been the most apprehensive to adapt in any form outside of video game. Because there's been little things here and there for the other stuff, but Zelda outside of Mario, I would say, is their biggest franchise. What is their biggest franchise outside of Mario?
And but also a lot less appealing to like young audiences. Like it's always been a little bit more of like the Mario one has all of the cute stuff for the kids, and Zelda is a little bit more of like this
The
is for the
majority
grown
adults play this. Yeah. You can still have fun with it if you're you can still have fun with it if you're a kid, but it's more garnered towards adults. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just really hope the executives at Nintendo are able to say, hey, look, Illumination, we love what you did with Mario. If you're going to make a Zelda game, you cannot make it in the same way. Or they're just going to say, we're going to license this to someone else, and we're going to license Studio Ghibli, and it's going to be amazing. And that's what I dream and hope for. And I would love a Zelda just animated movie, because that's just the way you do it. It would be so cool. And that I think we're going to get it. And I just hope it's in the way that is true to the tone and just the texture of these games. Because
I have a question.
Tears of the Kingdom is a game coming out very soon that I'm very looking forward to as well. And yeah, anyway, go. That's the end of my thoughts. That's the end of my gushing.
Well, but I have a question to keep that going.
Yeah. Okay.
With the Studio Ghibli proposed one, would you want them to adapt a specific game, or would you want them to have a new story?
I would love a new story. Honestly, I would. I think the games do themselves justice enough, and they're a little bit too big and hard to be adapted. I think just the idea of Zelda or Link, or Zelda's captured by Ganon, or Zelda's dead, or whatever, and Link wakes up, or Link is introduced, and Zelda's spirit or whatever, Zelda is helping him to defeat Ganon. That story works great. And so maybe that's
Zelda's bloodied corpse.
Just hanging. Ganon is just eating her. Just like crunching on her arm.
Bro, like the little fairy. Oh man, like I'm thinking of like every single thing in Zelda.
Illumination could
and
screw
then
up.
just translating it to Ghibli, and it's so good. And then you translate it to Illumination.
It's the worst thing ever.
Ugh.
That's the thing, dude. That is the thing. And so I'll say, if I were to choose a game of the ones that I've played, at least, Ocarina of Time, I think would be most effective in just a story where it's Link, Zelda, and Ganon is just the main three factors. I mean, the Triforce is a huge part of that game. It's a huge part of the plot of Zelda games in general. And I think that would be the one to adapt, because it is, I think, the most accessible of a story. Majora's Mask, kind of not as much. Twilight Princess, I think, could work. But it's like with the stuff with
it's pretty stylized.
It's
like
pretty
Twilight
stylized. And the fact that he like turns into a wolf and stuff like that, it's just, it wouldn't be the best for a first movie. Ocarina of Time, I think, would be
I'm even thinking of like ways that Studio Ghibli would like really Ghibliify it, and almost like I can see them like naming it not The Legend of Zelda, but naming it like The Boy with No Fairy or
Yeah,
something.
something like
Yeah,
that.
Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
just
Sure.
like something like that. And oh dude. Oh,
Meanwhile,
that I've planned it, now that I've
Illuminations, he's going to be wandering through the Lost Woods, and Gangster's Paradise is going to start playing or something.
Yeah. And somebody's gonna call him Zelda and is like, my name's Link, not Zelda.
my name's actually Link.
See, there are just some ideas
Voiced
in
by
my
Dylan
brain.
O'Brien.
There are
And
just some
Anna
ideas that are
Taylor-Joy is
so-
also Zelda.
Oh, dude.
Oh jeez.
There are just some ideas that I've had that are just so pure and good and perfect. Not to toot my own horn too much, but
Well,
Yeah.
you did.
just
so.
to
Yeah, bit late
just
for that.
to okay, I tooted it and it's tooted and you can't
The
untoot
horn
it.
has been tooted. The
And
horns of war have been
there are just some ideas that I've had for IPs that I have no control over, but like this, where it would just be such a perfect integration of creative minds making and adapting a story that I love that I just know won't happen. It's just unfortunate, but it's cool to have the idea in your
Yeah.
brain of like, man, a Zelda movie by Studio Ghibli would be amazing.
Write a letter, man.
Write
I
a
don't think
letter.
I did about, or like I did about.
Yeah, and it worked. Your letter
Cool.
worked, dude.
Yeah,
Which is
they're
the
making it.
inspiring part about that story that you told.
Write a letter. I have a
Um,
story about writing a letter that also relates to Mario. Can I tell
Okay.
it really quick?
Yeah, I'm done with
Yeah,
my
sure.
question. I
Okay,
think
I have two things that I want to say, and then we'll end the episode.
Take us home
First
now.
of all,
yeah, do
my
it.
brother, my older brother, who's 10 years older.
All
than
right,
me,
thanks guys. We'll see you next week.
Listen up. My older brother, who's 10 years older than me. Shout out to Ian.
Ian
When
James
he
Martin.
was young, no, Ian Thorley, my brother.
Oh,
When he was younger, he had an idea for a Super Mario snowball fight game. And he wrote a letter to Nintendo, a handwritten letter, because this is back then, and he mailed it to Nintendo saying, hey, I think that you should make Super Mario Snowball Fight. And they sent him back a letter on Mario or on Nintendo letterhead that basically said, no thanks. But it was like really kindly worded, and they
That's
they could
so
tell they
funny.
were dealing with a kid, and it was
Yeah.
cool that they wrote anything back at all.
that is really cool. That's awesome.
Fast forward to Mario versus Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. There is a snowball fight game in that. And I maintain, I don't know if my brother even knows about that, but I maintain that they kept that idea in their back pockets and then made it.
and then integrated it into that game.
No, I
Okay,
think Sega brought that to the table.
Second thing, this is brought up by the fact that in this movie, Wario and Waluigi were noticeably absent.
And
And they
Daisy.
will certainly be present in the next movie. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that would make sense for them to show
Here's
up.
my fun fact. Do you guys know? I'll ask it in the form of trivia. Do you guys know where Waluigi first appeared? In which game Waluigi first appeared?
The womb of Peach when he was birthed as Mario and Peach's son.
Yeah, it's a less popular Mario game.
I
But yeah, the
do-
womb of Peach.
I do
The
know it,
womb.
but will that steal your thunder?
No,
if
it's
I
totally
answer
fine, say
correctly?
it.
It's the Mario Tennis game.
I did
Mario
know that
Tennis.
as well.
And it's because Wario just needed a partner for doubles because Wario already existed.
They needed Waluigi.
So they gave him the
And it's-
longest arms in the game.
It's written somewhere in some lore. I can't remember. I'll see if I can find it. But Waluigi is not even Wario's brother. Apparently, Waluigi is a person that Wario hired to play tennis with him, and just kind of said like, "Hey, fit this theme to get into Luigi's head." And so he's just like a henchman, basically.
Do you
So
know
that's my fun fact about Waluigi.
the first game Wario showed up in was Super Mario Land 2 :6 golden coins?
Wow.
Mm.
I had
It was
no
a
clue.
Game Boy game. He was the final boss and also
He
the
was
main antagonist.
Negative Mario.
Nega Mario. See, I saw this thing with the like announcements of the Barbie stuff where it shows like Michael Cera, where it's like there's only one Alan, right? Because it has all the Ken
Yeah.
posters. And it's like this is a Ken of blah blah blah, and this is a Barbie blah blah blah. And it's like there's only one Alan, and that's Michael Cera's character. And I saw someone post like, by saying there's only one Alan, that implies that there is not the existence of a Nega Alan. It shows like a
Scott Pilgrim.
Photoshop
Yeah.
like version of that character, like
That's
Nega, like
funny.
Yeah, that's
in
great.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all that we have this week. Follow us on Instagram at
Yep.
Man Cave Movie Night. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Man Cave Movie Night. We're hyper active on Facebook and Twitter.
Our Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are all linked in our Anchor FM link in our bio. So
Good.
you can follow us on any of those platforms if you want. None of the Facebook and Twitter have never been posted. YouTube I've been a lot better at. This video I'm just gonna tell you right now is gonna take probably about a week to get up because I've got a very busy week.
Yeah,
with
it's a
homework,
crazy,
so
it's a
Oh
crazy
my
time.
Gosh.
it's crazy.
But
Listen,
everybody, tune in next week for our 100th episode.
Oh
of
my
our
this is a good plug. This is a
gosh.
good plug. Yep.
That's so crazy, guys.
We kind of have some kind of fun little things planned that we're gonna do, and it's
Should
gonna be
we-
kind of fun.
Tell them the idea so that they can get.
Well,
brewing.
just watch the Instagram. We're going to be asking you for some fan questions.
Yep.
gonna be doing some
because
fan
that's going to be that's going to be what we're doing.
Well,
it
it's gonna
doesn't-
be
It can be whatever you want.
it's
Yeah,
gonna be part
any
of what
sort
we're
of fan
doing.
question.
Aren't we also doing a
I
certain?
think we
something?
also might be doing a
Aren't we
little
doing
extra
a
special
little
something
thing that
A
you'll
little
be wanting to have your
extra
video on for?
an
So it's
extra
going to be a
special
3-hour
kinda
episode,
something.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
buckle
totally
up.
fits into my schedule.
Buckle up and
So
hunker
buckle-
down.
Buckle up.
Buckle
You
up.
go ahead and
young.
put that buckle right on, brother.
And we will see
Brother.
you on another Man Cave Movie Night Monday.
I'm going to leave out of a pipe.
Bloop, 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 bloop.